Over the years, I've made a lot of tips and tricks videos for Animal Crossing New Horizons, but now that the game has been out for over 5 years, it's really gotten me thinking, what are some of the most essential tips that I would share to players? Regardless of whether I was a new player or someone who'd been playing for a long time, what are some things that I would really want to know and not miss out on? So that's exactly the purpose of this video, to share some of those absolutely essential tips that I think every Animal Crossing player out there needs to know about. And regardless of how long you've been playing, I hope these can help you on your Animal Crossing journey. So drop a like on the video if you're ready for some Animal Crossing tips, and let's jump straight into this. Now, the first tip I would have to give is carrying certain items within your pockets. Now, we all know about carrying our tools with us basically at all times so that we can use them whenever necessary. However, there are some extra things that you should be carrying around with you too. The first that is absolutely essential in my opinion is the wooden storage shed. Now, after you've reached 2,400 house storage, you'll be able to purchase this shed from the Nook stop for 6,000 Nook miles, and it's something I recommend you do right away. Now, this is great to have in your house, this is great to just have set around somewhere on your island, but I also recommend having one in your pockets at all times, so that wherever you are on the island, you can simply place it down and access your storage from anywhere. This is so useful at any point within the game. You won't be able to carry everything with you after all, so being able to access your storage, get crafting materials or items that you want to decorate with is such a useful feature. I definitely think this has to be one of the best items in the entire game, so I really recommend carrying it with you absolutely everywhere. Now, another that I'd recommend is a crafting bench, because of course, crafting is such an essential part of New Horizons. I know some people have mixed feelings on crafting, but the game does unfortunately want you to do it a lot. So this is another item I would carry around with you. Yes, definitely have one in your house, and of course maybe put some around the island, but unless you're going to put them literally everywhere, I definitely would recommend carrying one. It can be so useful and so necessary. For example, let's consider maybe your tools have broken on you, you don't want to go all the way over to the Nook's Cranny, simply craft some new ones with your crafting bench. There are a few other useful ones as well. For example, there is the ABD. Once again, you can purchase this from the Nook stop, this time for 9,900 Nook miles after you've paid off all of your home loans. And of course, the ABD will allow you to access your money at any time. You can withdraw or deposit bells whenever you want. I personally don't feel like this is as essential as the other two, at least in my opinion. You should still be able to carry a decent amount of bells with you, and most things aren't going to cost that much in one go, so I don't know, I feel like it's not as necessary, but you definitely could if you wanted to. It is another one that you could add in. There is also the bin items as well, which are really useful to carry around. You can place them down and throw away any items which are clogging up your inventory, instead of having to go to Nook's Cranny and selling them. I mean, some items literally are worth nothing if they're rubbish and such, so having a bin handy in your inventory can be incredibly useful, and that is definitely something I recommend. So yeah, don't just think about those tools in your pockets, make sure you've got plenty of other items too, like the ones listed. They will help you out so much, and it might feel like they're taking up your inventory space, but trust me, it'll be worth it. They are incredibly useful. Now, the next item is kind of separate because it's got its own sort of special mechanic which I want to mention here, and this is the Mario Pipe. Now, you can purchase this item from the Nook Shopping tab, and you head over to the promotions. You'll see all the different Mario collaboration items that we got many years ago now. And effectively, this Mario Warp Pipe will allow you to teleport anywhere on the island. You place one pipe where you want to teleport to, and then you can place the other anywhere else, and you'll be able to head there back and forth. So I recommend carrying a warp pipe in your pocket so you can easily teleport back to somewhere anytime you want. For example, you could put it at your home, and then you can take out the warp pipe from your inventory, put it down, and teleport straight back there if you need to. Or maybe even somewhere like resident services, which could be incredibly useful. So I wanted to include this one kind of separately just because it's a very elaborate mechanic, and of course if you only have one, it won't take you anywhere. but it can even teleport you inside of your own home, which I find incredibly cool. So this one is definitely worth keeping in your inventory if you want an easy teleport option to get around very, very fast. Now, if you want easy navigation of your island, of course you might have the vaulting pole and you might have the ladder. You might also have put lots of bridges and inclines, but of course with those bridges and inclines you can only have a certain amount. So I definitely recommend putting a lot of ladder kits around the island. You can purchase these from Nook's Cranny, I believe, after progressing a certain amount in the game, and there are also lots of different types that you can get through various recipes. These are really, really useful. They'll work just like the inclines, but there'll be a little animation where you climb up them. And I just think they're absolutely fantastic. They were one of the best additions to the game when they did get added. And of course, they don't take up a ton of tile space like the inclines do. You can even place them diagonally, which is something you can't do with the inclines. They don't always work perfectly, I find. If there's certain items in the way, they can be a little bit stubborn and not really work the best. But I do think these are absolutely fantastic, and they're not too difficult to craft either, so it's worth having a lot of them around your island. If you want a cheaper option, however, where you don't have to use any crafting materials whatsoever, you can use the vines. Now, these vines can be found on Cap'n Islands. Once you've reached 3 stars on your island and unlocked him, you can go to a Cap'n Island for 1000 Nook Miles, and you have a chance of seeing an island that has glowing moss and these vines. And they can be used just like the ladder kits can, but of course, they don't cost anything. And they're much easier to farm. You can get a ton of these on one single island, and it's really useful. Not to mention, if you have the Happier in Paradise DLC, then you can get a lot of them from there all the time. So they are really, really handy to have. I definitely recommend putting lots of those vines around your island. I also feel like they just suit the aesthetic of most islands because they are fairly natural. So maybe unless you have like a city island or something, they usually work out pretty well. But if not, then the regular ladder kits work great too. Probably one of the biggest questions and concerns players have raised about New Horizons is how to get all of the different fruit without buying an online subscription. And the truth is, you do need Nintendo Switch Online to get all of the fruits. I have seen some sources say that you've got a chance of getting some fruit from letters that you send to villagers if you attach fruit. However, I personally haven't seen that in New Horizons. I know it was a thing in the older Animal Crossing games, but I'm not so confident that actually works here. However, there is a way to get all of the fruit online without paying for Nintendo Switch Online. And the simple answer to that is on the My Nintendo Rewards website, Nintendo's official rewards website, they often offer free trials for Nintendo Switch Online. Now, these are usually just for a month, but that is enough time for you to go online and play with other players to get the rest of the fruit that you're missing. I appreciate this is frustrating, and I wish that they had just included them all in the game without you having to use the internet or, trading locally with a friend. But it doesn't seem like they've done that, unfortunately. So if you do want the fastest way of getting them, and of course other cool things online too, then this is the way to do it. You could honestly make a lot of good use out of that 1 month trial. I do believe it's something that Nintendo offers quite a lot, so definitely it's worth trying in my opinion. Now, the next one you will have to pay for, but I honestly think it is so worth it, and this is the Happier in Paradise DLC. Now, one of the best tips I can give is make sure you unlock Wardell's shop. I believe once you have spent a total of 150,000 Poké at his shop, you will be able to unlock this special menu from him, which will effectively let you see any item and every item in the game that you have used in Happy Home Paradise designing villager homes. This doesn't include items that have to be crafted, but it is hundreds and hundreds, and honestly, it is fantastic. You of course can only spend your Poké here, but you can get a lot of that, and it's really a great way to be able to just get so many items to decorate with. You can buy all of their variations without needing to customize. It's so useful. I know not everyone wants to pay for the DLC, so just ignore this tip if that is you, but if you are willing to pay for it, Happier in Paradise gives you so much cool stuff. I honestly think it is so worth the money, especially if you like decorating and you want to unlock a lot of features related to that. You'll absolutely love it. But this Wardell's shop, honestly, I think is one of the most essential things in the game. I love it so much, and I definitely think all players should know about this and have a chance to get these items if they can. Now, there are so many different ways to earn bells in New Horizons. Of course, they're incredibly important if you want to make any progress in the game whatsoever. Of course, the absolute best method is the stock market, aka turnip trading. Now, I'm not going to go on a huge thing about how that works within this video, but effectively, turnip trading is buying the turnips for a low price and selling them for a high price. Generally, this is easier to do if you have Nintendo Switch Online, but of course you can check your prices in your own Nook's Cranny. However, there are some other good ways to make bells as well if you don't want to go too crazy with that feature. Diving is definitely one of the best ways to make bells, I find. It can be kind of annoying to catch some of the more difficult sea creatures and a little bit time consuming, but it is a really good way early on in the game to make a lot of bells without putting in too much effort, shall I say. Like I said, it can be a little bit annoying to catch certain things, but it's definitely feasible. Another method that I want to mention, of course, is using crops. So you can get these from leaf, you can get things like pumpkins, carrots, and potatoes. These are a really profitable way of making a lot of bells in the game. They do, of course, require you to put some money in first, so you can buy all of the starts and such, but you can just continue to plant the ones you've grown to get more, so you really only have to do that first investment. However, this game isn't like Stardew Valley, where it's really easy to harvest a lot of crops at once and water all of them at once and such. It is pretty time consuming. I don't personally find it to be that fun. You might really enjoy it, and like I said, it can be a good way of making bells, although I don't think it is the best way in the game personally. I would still put that with turnips, and I do think turnip trading is worth doing, but if you aren't able to access online, or you're just not getting good prices in your own Nook's Cranny, then there are definitely other ways of making a lot of bells too. The same can be said about Nook Miles as well. If you're just starting up the game and you're looking for easy ways to make Nook Miles, there are a lot of really good ones that you can use. For example, there are ones where you simply need to break one tool, which is of course incredibly easy to do early on, or get 20 materials from chopping at trees, something you're going to be doing a lot of. Then there are some really simple ones that you can just use once to get a lot of Nook Miles early on, like just editing your passport information. Just make a quick edit to it and you'll be able to get some free Nook Miles. You can also simply use your Nook phone and get some Nook Miles, so that one's really easy. You can use Nook Shopping once and get it, and one of my personal favorites is just writing anything on the bulletin board once and getting Nook Miles. This has to be one of the easiest ways in the game for you to get them, so yeah, I definitely recommend checking out a lot of those. It's not too difficult to get Nook Miles right at the start of the game. After all, they really want you to, because these Nook Miles are effectively there to teach you how to use the features of the game, so they want to encourage you as much as possible. And of course, with your first loan, you do need Nook Miles, so it's really important to use some of these nice and simple ones. Later on, of course, you can use your Nook Mile Plus goals every day to make a ton. Like this one where I need to go diving for sea creatures, I get 5 times, so that's going to be great. And of course, later on in the game, you still need a lot of Nook Miles to do things like, you know, going to Cap'n Islands and such, which cost 1,000 Nook Miles per day, or getting all of those really cool unlocks from the Nook Stop. So yeah, there's always a good way to earn a lot of Nook Miles easily in New Horizons by using these particular tasks. Now, if you're trying to complete your Critterpedia and you're struggling, one thing I definitely recommend is that make sure on your island you have everything. So we're talking, make sure you have tree stumps. You've chopped at a tree and you have a tree stump. Make sure you have a waterfall on your island. Make sure you have rivers. Make sure you have ponds. Effectively, make sure you've got everything that the game is giving you, all of those different things like flowers, tree stumps and such, palm trees on your beaches, fruit trees, you name it. You're going to want at least one of everything like that on your island so you can get it. There are many different critters in the game which will only spawn in through certain methods, some that only spawn in through the pond, or only spawn in at a waterfall. So if you are struggling, definitely make sure you're not missing anything like that, because that could be the key to you completing your Critterpedia. And of course, there are lots of guides online which can help you out and tell you what you might be missing too. Now, finally, one of the most important tips I can give is play however you want to play. Now, in these videos, I'm generally just giving advice. I'm not saying anyone should play a certain way. If you want to ignore my tips, go ahead. All I want to say is play the game however makes you happy. If you want to play it really slowly and just play a little bit each and every day, go ahead. If you want to have a super decorated island that is incredibly fancy with tons of features and items, never let anyone else tell you how you should enjoy Animal Crossing New Horizons. Yes, there are lots of good things to learn, but this is your experience at the end of the day, and you can play it however you want. I see a lot of people comparing their islands, for example, with other players, and this can lead to a lot of negativity, but everyone's playstyle and everyone's island is different at the end of the day, and I like that about the game. I think it'd be boring if everything was the same. I get a lot of people actually criticize my island in the comments by saying they think it's too confusing or a maze, and that's fair enough. If they don't like my island style, I completely understand that. But at the end of the day, it's my island, I'm the one who has to play on it, so I'm gonna have it exactly how I want, and I recommend you do the same. It's the same with things like time traveling. If you want to time travel, go ahead, no one can stop you from doing this. At the end of the day, as long as you're happy in Animal Crossing New Horizons, that is by far the most important thing. So thanks for checking out some of these essential tips and tricks with me here. I hope you found them useful. Please let me know what some of yours are down in the comment section below. What would you suggest? If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to comment Bob's Gang so I know you did. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe and turn on notifications for more.